This is Sherry Ray. Thanks for listening in to today's conversation titled, It's Not Okay, but I'm Okay with It. How many times a day, a week, an hour do you hear something that's not okay with you? Maybe it's in world events, family events, work events, or what's happening in society. You can't even believe it's happening in the world you live in. Do these things linger in your mind and cause you to stay stirred up? In this conversation, we'll explore how you can find peace while so many things you don't agree with are happening. Thank you for listening. So today's conversation is on um, it's not okay, but I'm okay with it. Okay. So I want you to reflect on something that is just possibly not okay with you. Like it could be everything from world affairs, um, politics, people leaving your life, um, situations not being as you might want them to be. And they're really things that um, you can't control. And I'm kind of laughing because the universe, whenever I tend to ask a question, the universe starts serving up material. So this morning, where I'm staying right now, while my house is under construction, someone is above me with a jackhammer, and it just started about 25 minutes ago. So I don't know if y'all can hear all that
Mm-mm.
jackhammering in the background. Oh, thank goodness. And I was like, okay, what are we going to do with this? Because I was like, I don't have time to scramble and find another place where it might be silent. So I was like, I have no control over this. I have no control what the neighbors do in this building. And that jackhammer is seriously going to town up there.
Huh.
I don't know what it's doing. So I'm going to use that as just an example about these uninvited situations that are not okay. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So what are some any situations that come to mind for you that it's just not okay and it might weigh heavy on your mind? Then you have to relate to you. You can just make it up too.
Well, for me, one of them is my house was built in 1925, and when I bought it, I completely gutted it, so it's all brand new inside. And there's three garages behind me, and above it in 1936, they built a two-bedroom, one-bath apartment. And previous owners had condominiumized it, so we each own our own unit. But my neighbor passed away in February, and she did not do a lot of deferred maintenance. And there's some issues that are affecting my house. And so I don't have control over that. Although I'm quite close with her aunt, who is the administrator of her estate, and I'm hopeful that these issues that are affecting me will be taken care of, but I really don't have any control over it. And I don't know how much she has either. So I'm just having to let it go and just trust that the right thing's going to happen. And yeah, it's a bit frustrating because I put a lot into redoing my house, and this is could have some bad consequences for me. So that's one thing.
That's a
There's
great
there's
example.
many, but that's the one that comes to mind.
Oh, that one is very close to my life at this moment. So thank you. My house was built in 1920, and it is in that same process right now. So thank you for that. Anybody else?
My daughter is in an ongoing struggle with her ex-husband, and they periodically uh, issues come up that have to be dealt with, and she calls me, and there is not one thing I can do. To give her advice would be a joke because I'm only seeing a little slice of the situation, and so that's something that I can't do anything about. But you know, for her having to deal with that is not okay with me, but I can't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm. Great example. Yeah. Yeah. What other people are up to and how they resolve what's facing them, we don't have any control over. That's a very good example.
All right, I've got one.
Great. Great.
So I accidentally threw away my driver's license in the airport the last time I was there. And the only thing I have is a copy of not my last driver's license, but the one before it in a different unit in the building in Galveston. And I don't have a driver's license. And what it's taking to get a driver's license, first of all, I haven't been able to get one online because I have the number at the bottom of your driver's license changes every time you change your driver's license, which I never knew. I never even looked at that number. So that doesn't work. I can't replace it online. And there's nobody to talk to. I've tried that many times. So now I'm looking at getting a Washington driver's license. But in order to do that, what that's going to take, because I don't have a driver's license, it's like a catch-22. It's like you go there and they say, but I can't do it without your driver's license. And I'm like, well, but I lost my driver's license. That's why I'm here. And then they want you to do, so the last opportunity that I've found is to order my birth certificate. It's like, why they don't, when you bring them all the stuff with your picture and everything on all these different things like Nexus and all of it, that's not good enough. That doesn't mean you exist. It's weird. So that's where I am. And I mean, it kept me up a bit last night. And I kept saying, you know, there's nothing you can do in the middle of the night. Well, that didn't take care of it, of course. And so I'm going to go today with everything I've got except the birth certificate. I'm going to have to take the test again, and I'm going to have to drive again. It's just bizarre.
And parallel park again.
I guess, but am I okay with it? Yes and no. I mean,
Okay.
I get that there's nothing I can do except what I'm doing. And so I started praying for an angel at the DPS. It's like, you know, the last time I went, they told me to go away and they weren't very nice. Those people seem to have some real issues. I don't know what the deal is. But anyway, I'm just praying for someone to show up today that can at least smile with me and show me what I need to do. So,
Excellent. So everything everybody has really stated is so close to home and so true to every single everyday life. You know, there's nobody immune from.
right.
There's nobody immune. So the next part of the conversation, I want you to reflect for just a second on like a scale of 1 to 10. I think it's real to be able to continue the conversation. It's a good idea for you to kind of get a benchmark in your head about how much you value, and the importance of the peace inside your mind.
Can you
The
say
peace inside,
a little more about that?
Yeah.
like the peace inside your mind, because it's like if you really narrow the field and you look really closely. If you look really closely, the only place that keeps us unsettled, it keeps us in turmoil, is the peace, the level of peace we have in our mind.
Yes. Okay.
The level of peace, you know what I mean? And do you really value a high level of peace in your mind? Okay, so kind of pick a number, like, and another way of putting it is like my intention is to really point us to seeing where the peace exists, if we're going to have it, and what is the real location of getting okay with what's not okay.
So you want to know where we are with that, with the particular circumstance?
No, with
How-
the how much what, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the peace in my mind, having peace in my mind is a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or a 1, 2, 3, 4. You could care less if you have peace in your mind.
Okay.
I want a 10.
Okay, me too. Me
I'm
too.
after a 10.
I'll say a 10.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay, excellent, excellent. So if we really start to see that the only place peace is going to exist for us is in my own mind, that would be the place to really be able to hold at a high value in order to navigate all these uninvited situations or that come into our life. Okay, so it's like, okay, so what does having a really valuing peace in my mind have to do with getting okay with what's not okay? So what do you, in a place of noticing, what do you notice about what goes on inside your mind when something happens to your house that you didn't cause, but it's happening around you? You get the phone call and somebody is truly upset, and you got, I mean, what is your, where does your mind go inside your own head?
I think for me, it's after, panic is I usually just try to get calm and look at it realistically and see where I'm feeling it in my body, and then decide if there's something I can do to do it, and if not, then just let it go.
Great, great. Who else?
It works
Excellent.
most of the time, pretty quickly. Sometimes it takes me a day or two.
Yeah, to me, this is like a practice, just like yoga or headstanding or physical fitness training, anything
Mhm.
like that.
Where I go, and my thing is like unkind people or people driving really close, not using their blinkers. I feel like when I'm getting older, I'm getting cynical, and I don't want to be like that. So when I experience just someone being rude to someone else, and it's not even my business, I feel like it's unfair. And I take it personal, even though somebody could come up to me or a family member could say something to me personally. And I usually don't take things personally, but I find I'm taking these things from people I don't even know personal. It's like, what is wrong with this freaking world? Yeah. Maybe a little indignant, which doesn't feel good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
my first response is usually, oh, fuck. Like, I can't believe that I did that. I can't believe I'm in this situation. Okay. And then, I don't know. I just have to follow the breadcrumbs to get out of it. I don't know. Last night when I was in the middle of the night that's unusual. I don't do that a lot late anymore. Not very often. And I don't know. Does it disturb my peace? Not really. I don't like it. And it's okay to not like it. It doesn't matter whether I like it or not. That's not going to change it. And also, it's not going to change me, is where I've gone with it. It's like nothing's going to happen to my life other than that I don't have a driver's license and I can't go drive this new car that I really want to drive, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that should be my only problem. So it's, I don't know. It doesn't affect me. I say it doesn't affect me. I get annoyed about it. So what? That's like I get in a mood. So what? I'm going to go again today to see if there's something we can do. But other than that, there's not a lot I can do about it anyway. Last night I was thinking, well, maybe I should fly to Texas. And it's like, no, I think you could let that one go. That may not work anyway.
Yeah, you have to have your license to get on the plane.
Yeah. You could probably do it with a passport, you know.
Yeah, you can.
So,
So, I don't know. It just, what I'm saying is I don't dive into it the way I used to. That's
Great. Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, and so like in this inquiry, it's like for things that I'll say that things that you don't have hope of a solution, and I know there's always hope, but you really, it might be far, far away from out of your reach of, I'll say for like things people do or things that are going on. I just noticed if in my own mind, it starts to try to figure it out, figure it out, figure it out.
right.
Like to see what my part is in this and see what I can do to
Yes.
manage it. Maybe that's it, or see what my part is. So I noticed that my mind gets busy on that, and then what happens is, like, with the more I hit the wall with facing the reality that I'm not in control of any of it and I will never be, then it then my mind kind of goes into a ruminating cycle, you know. So I say that because oftentimes the the if we value peace, we have to see where, first of all, where peace resides, and then second of all, what if I value something, how can I do my part in support of that? We do it for causes, charitable causes all day long. If there's a charitable cause, we get behind it, and we volunteer, we write a check, we do whatever it is for those things that we value and feel are important in our life. So in this place of really valuing a mind in peace, what I've noticed is, even for those things, like I said, that are so we can't fix it. I love the example of like people who leave your life, and people who leave your life for whatever reason they leave, and they won't give an explanation. They won't, they're that whole kind of like bewilderment where really it's like you examine all of your part in it. Like I said, this is totally a reflection of personal experience, but my mind goes underneath every single rock to find what my part was in it. What is there a solution? How can it be fixed? And then again, I think the situation being met with a dead end, met with a dead end, met with a dead end, is where it occurred to me, like, wait a minute. I really do value having peace in my mind. So that's where the learning curve started happening for me, because being in the fix it mode, being in the searching mode, being in the even searching for a fix or searching for a why, or even being in self-judgment of my participation in any of it.
Right.
That really does rob the peace in my mind, and my experience of life tanks. Now, in coming back to things that I have no control over, I said, okay, the place where it gets to be creative is like, okay, all right, if peace is my number one objective, peace between my ears, so to speak, it's like I found that that in that place of searching or trying to fix, I'm in the why or the judging of me and all that stuff, I'm looking for a resolution. I'm finding if I can come to resolution, the peace comes back, my mind quiets, and I come back to a place where there's more peace in my mind. Now, this is to me where we are in relationship with ourselves and being within your own creative power of how you can arrive at a resolution within yourself about things that you can't control. Now, it's a place to, I think, a place to really create from, and a place to really create from, I'll say probably nothing you've ever had to pull from before. So you really do have to listen for what is brand new and brand new for you when you've got that desire to have more peace in your mind. And where do you go? Where do you go for it? Where do you go to get it between you and yourself? So, I just kind of think about that you can be in relationship with yourself to find a resolution. Find a resolution. And I'll say even resolution doesn't mean fixing the problem.
Right.
But a resolution is landing somewhere where you can get behind it. Where you can get behind whatever your resolution is. Say for instance, for an example for me is, I'll say I backed up and ran into the wall many, many, many times on a particular situation of, I'll say, people leaving my life. And then it was like, okay, wait a minute. I got to the resolution place that my peace was more important than that situation.
Mhm.
My peace was more important than allowing my mind to wander into those situations that I have no control over whatsoever.
Mhm.
And so it was like, okay, once I resolved to go about, and I noticed it's like, okay, if I go into that topic, my level of peace tanks.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm not in denial that those things are happening, but I know I'm in a complete resolution of going, no, my peace is more important. My peace is more important. So it's kind of like a training exercise for me. So like when I've resolved of going, okay, this I can get behind whatever the resolution is, I can get behind that. And then what happens is when it does come back up for a review and my mind wants to go there and then it does come back up and it does come back up, I'm like, no. I really have made a resolution. I want to get behind my peace, not behind that topic. Because I know the more that I have peace, a mind that is more at peace, that's what I live in.
Mhm.
And if my mind goes into these topics, and I think I don't know, I'll make this up, but I think everybody has hot topics that if they go into, I don't care what they are, they're peace stuffers.
Mhm.
So in that place of like coming into your own mind about, it could be common sense. I think common sense is what makes common sense to you, not common sense to anybody else, but what makes real sense to you as a next step and coming to a resolution. Doesn't mean you can't change it all anytime you want to, but when you get a resolution that is a fit for you and then you get behind it, every single time you want to get behind your resolution, because if you don't get behind it, you're going to be in ambivalence. You'll be
Right.
back and forth, back and forth. So, and I'll say resolution, and I don't know, the other word that comes to mind for me is like resolve, but that sounds like a lot more work than resolution. I want to rest in resolution versus work at something. So, what do you hear in that, if anything?
Is your resolution that your intention is to shoot for peace? Is that your resolution?
To live in more peace, more of the time. To live in more, I mean, I value the feeling. I really value the feeling I live in. I'm not I'm not willing to, and I'm saying this is practice, 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 just like being on a yoga mat or anything else. But it's coming back to with the seeing a resolution for me about just don't go. If the topic comes up, don't go into it. You've
Right.
done all you can do. You've done all you can do, and if I haven't done all I can do, I have the feeling it'll show up to me via
Right.
an insight versus something completely fresh versus me in that figuring it out place.
That's so interesting. Because when you said, how much do you value it? I didn't correlate it until you said a little bit more about it, that what my values are. And I've never placed peace of mind in my values. It's like, I want to have fun, be kind. I have, and like, be fit and healthy, but I haven't put peace of mind up there, which I crave. And that's always, that's what I'm striving for. Like this morning, I did not want to go to the gym, but because it's higher up on my values, I sucked it up and I went. So I think if I were to place peace of mind higher up there, that maybe it would come in to find a resolution, when I am letting those people on the road piss me off and make me feel like, what in the hell is wrong with this world? And
Mm-hmm.
and also, when you first said, when people leave your life, I thought when people die. And that's also, that's like a fear, of the future, like my husband, my family. But that's also something that I will have to find a resolution for. And maybe striving to get back to peace of mind might help with that, if that's a value of mine.
If we value peace of mind, you're going to naturally feel joyful. You're going to naturally have more energy to work out. You're going to naturally be more playful. That's our natural state of being. I like the idea of it being referred to as like vacation mind. When you give yourself X amount of days to take everything off your mind and do something different, you're naturally all those things that you feel, naturally all those things that you mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I thought I was pretty peaceful until you said that, and I thought, well, I'm not like sitting around filled with joy, and I certainly am not sitting around feeling a lot of energy. So there's something that I'm not acknowledging,
Mm, mm,
Yeah,
mm.
yeah. I mean, I have moments, but it doesn't feel like my natural state,
Mm-hmm.
it,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, my natural state seems more like a pattern or a state of mind that I'm in, as opposed to something underneath that state of mind. I'm not sure.
Totally.
It is, because
No, totally.
yeah, when I
I
thought,
don't think any of us are always,
well,
but it's hope, like coming home, that it's always there for the taking.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what percentage are we happy with? And do I recognize it? Do I and how often do I recognize it? Do I feel energized? Sometimes I feel energized.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, uh, maybe it'd be good for me to pay attention to what's going on in my mind when I feel energized, and what's going on in it when I don't. I don't know.
Or even what's not on your mind when you feel energized.
Well, then I'd be thinking about what was, I'd be back there. So I don't know.
Yeah. But if we really get, or even be curious about if your natural state of being is playful and enjoying, if you think about think about your very best, vacation or something, or your very best, I mean, just describe if you're going to even think about your freest moment on the planet, you know, or something like that, you'd notice in reality you have very little on your mind. Underneath all that, it's a default setting.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be, yeah. I like that perspective.
Now that's your most natural state of being. So when we in that place of like, okay, getting okay with what getting or I'm okay with it. What's not it's not okay doesn't mean that I'm in uh running up the white flag in a victim kind of way. It's allowing yourself to take it off your mind, allowing yourself to really value the feeling you live in. And that raises, to me, it raises the bar about where you allow yourself to follow your mind. Because I think the more you understand that the mind is a wild card and we have a choice to follow it or not on good days, there's no absolutes, you know, but on that, if I really want to live in a better feeling, I need to exercise, become aware that I have a choice and I can decide not to follow where my mind wants to go as a practice, because I know that a clear mind is going to give me the feeling I want to live in.
So I have a question.
Great.
So what I've noticed is that, and I have an understanding today that I have moods. Okay, so I have moods, and they pass. They come, they go, they come back, they go away. And do I like the feeling I have if I'm in a mood? Not particularly.
Agreed.
Would I say um, interrupts my peace? Sure, I'm sure. Yes, it does. I got really pissed last night because I didn't win this game, and it was like, and he said, "Are you really upset about that?" Like, yes. So, but what? So what? For me, I'm beginning to. What I'm looking at is the difference between. Maybe we just call it something else. It could be a mood that
Yeah.
I'm saying disrupts my, okay, you don't have a driver's license. So what? What this makes me think of is, and I don't recommend this to anyone, is that when I had the flying through the air incident 2 years ago, almost in September, the first thought I had was, I'm not my body. That was the very first thought, lying on the ground in pain. Okay, I'm not my body. And the next thought was, somebody is going to take care of this body. A human being is going to take care of this body. I don't have to go there. And then I was able, with the help of somebody who got me to breathing, when I said I'm going into shock, he said, can you just breathe with me? And I did. And I didn't go into shock. So I didn't leave my body alone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then from then on, in fact, I asked about this last night because I said, what did you think when I was never unhappy the whole time during the week of surgery, during the 6 weeks in rehab, during the time after that, and until today? And he said, I don't know. I just thought you were happy. He said, I don't know how else. I didn't question it. So to me, and it's because it's so current that we had that conversation, I guess, that
Mm-hmm.
if I can turn over what is most precious to me, which is the body I live in, to something bigger than me, I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen, and have the results that I've had, a license is nothing. All I have to do is I have to get the stuff in order. Just like with your house, I got to get the stuff in order. I got to meet with the people. I got to get that done. And then they don't get it done when they said they would. Well, there's nothing I can do about that. Or somebody dies. Well, that's pretty final. And I've been having conversations lately with two people in my life. One has died, and the other one is in the process. And it's interesting because I don't know, I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of the hole they're going to leave. I know they're going to leave a hole. I know that I'm going to feel that there's a hole. But I'm wondering if the lack of peace is directly related to the mood I go into for me. And
Great question.
so I don't know how those are related, but that's just what sort of surfaced. Like, well, wait a minute, why do you have to deal with it any differently than a mood? I don't know.
I'll say in real time, we could sit back today and go, oh my God, what would I do if I fell in my garden, I'm by myself and I'm all alone and I don't know, and my body just gets shattered.
Right.
I'm kind of, it's like, okay, what would I do? What would it? You see how busy up your mind would go into what would I do? What, I need to get one of those life alerts. You see, and then you go
Yes.
into incredible fear. Now, but in real time, in the moment, I'll say it's my as a witness going, some superior quality intelligence came in
Yep.
and overrode all the stuff we don't have time to think. You didn't have time to think.
No. And I
And
couldn't have thought it up like that anyway.
we never can, but that's the value of not going into trying to fix and resolve stuff ahead of time.
Yes, because we can't.
We can't. It never matches the real thing if the real thing ever happens. You know what I mean? I think 98% of the time the real thing never happens, but we can sure keep our head filled with the possibilities of things happening. And then what the feeling you live in is caca. It drops dramatically.
Yes.
But to your point, it's like, yeah, that real-time information, having wisdom in real time when you need it, and then also seeing that in the impact of mood on our state of being at any moment. But also I think the gift is knowing it's a mood.
Yes.
The gift of knowing that it's not reality, it's just a mood.
Could a mood be something that you're reacting to because something outside of me is happening that I don't like, so I have a reaction? And for me, I look to see what within me is being triggered, causing that reaction or that mood. And then dealing with that, because I can only deal with my own stuff. I can't deal with yours or anybody else's. So, a reaction could cause a mood in me, a bad mood, a good mood, whatever. So I kind of look to see what's happening that's causing that internal thing to happen.
And I say, do what makes sense to you. Really do what makes sense to you at any time. But for me to return to a peace of mind, I have to, me personally, this is just a sharing machine, I have to give up the why. I have to, because for my mind, if I send it on a why mission, ooh, you talk about a dog with a bone. It would keep me up at night. It will chew on it. It will look, it will dig, it will search, it will, I can't, I just know that in my mind, I can't give it a why, because that would be that part of me trying to figure it out. Bobby.
Well, that just make it, in the instance with the, like my daughter calling me up and saying, hey, this is going on, and I got, I can easily get caught up in it. I did at least have the presence of mind to go, you can't give her any advice. It won't be helpful. And And then after the conversation, getting into a conversation with Harvey about the conversation. And then, but then fortunately for some, and I don't know how, but I went away and I got focused on something else. And, you know, and it just wasn't an issue. What, and you know, it can come to mind, but you know, it's the thing is, you know, I can't do anything about it. I could suggest some things to her that might help her ease her discomfort, like, you know, like tapping or whatever, but she would, you know, she's not, I don't think she's available to that, you know? So, and you know, it's her life, you know, if she's got to be the one to decide how invaluable her peace of mind is to herself, you know? And yeah, so but it's nice that it didn't, you know, I didn't have to do anything different. I didn't have to figure out how to take care of it for some reason, you know, you know, grace or whatever. I didn't stay with it, you know. I just went, okay, you know, she's dealing with that, and you know, I'm happy. I'm not happy for her, but I'm compassionate. And I know that she's dealing with it, and I hope it works well for her, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And for those two, I'm like, I know they are plugged into the same intelligence I am, and I know they have what it takes. I know they can receive any information that's helpful.
Yes, but it doesn't have to come through me.
Totally. And the other part I think is this is what I make up. I'm not a parent, but this is what I make up. I think that I hear too many parents take responsibility for the experience of their kids. Like somehow they had a part in it. And I'm like, no, can you take that off your mind too? It's a separate soul that came into your body, that came out of your body. If you're the mom, and it's like, wait a minute, but that's a separate soul that has their own unique experience of life and path to walk. And nothing you did planted the seed of suffering in their head.
Yeah, that's a good lesson to learn.
Like I said, I don't have kids, but I'm talking from the you know, the back seat.
Well, yeah, but my experience has been, you've been a kid, and so that's close enough, you know, because I remember one time looking at my daughter and going, oh my God, my mother was doing this and I was doing that, you know. So I oh hell, we've been here, you know, or I've been here on the other side of this, and you know, gave me a different way of looking at it. But so, you know, I think that you get credit for being a kid and having a parent. You know, you know what I'm saying? You get that experience, whether you're whichever way you're on it, you know.
Yeah, really. If you're on both sides of that coin at some point. Yeah. And,
you know,
and I think
go ahead. Well, I was just going to say,
say that, because I was coming back to your point about mood. So I want to hear what you say, because it might be right back to that point.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, when I get into a mood or a whatever about my own son and his trials and tribulations, number one, I got to wait for him to ask if he wants some information from me. That's number one. And number two, it's what I repeat. I love one-liners that I can repeat like a mantra, which is, I have to allow him the dignity to be who he is.
Yeah.
He's got to handle it himself, and I can stand in awe of it and be amazed. That's the other thing. If I'll just keep my mouth shut and listen and watch, I'm amazed at how he handles life. Not necessarily the way I would handle it, but he seems to make it. He's doing it. So that's but I have to repeat that to myself, that I have got, even though he's my child, I have to let him have the dignity to just be who he is and experiment with life, just like I did. I didn't listen to anybody.
Yeah.
If they
Even
did,
when they yelled in our ear, we didn't listen, you know.
That's right. If they dared to approach me with a solution.
Yeah. And I think too, what you're saying is like having that on your mind, being aware of his choices and how he navigates life is like, how does that contribute to you living in a mind that's more filled with peace?
Totally. It totally does. Because when I can repeat that, it takes the place of whatever else was going on in there. I've got a lot of those and I love them because I just use them all the time. It's like, nope, not yours.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I get busy doing something else. Just,
Right.
Put your attention on something else.
something I
That
want to do rather than something I think I got to go save or whatever that all is.
Yeah. Yeah.
save, fix, correct the injustice, or point out the wrongness of it. You know, there's a whole bunch of
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. I know how you should do this. Really.
and no doubt it needs to meet my expectations, you know, for it to
That's
be
right.
okay.
No, and in fact, I spend a lot of time thinking, now, how can I say this about mood or about whatever my understanding is? How can I say this so he could actually hear it? And it's like, oh, right. I'm to control that one too.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I hold my
Yes.
mouth like this, maybe he'll get it. No.
Or wear pink. If you wear pink, he'll hear it, you know. It
Right.
makes about the same amount of sense. Yeah. So in this, just to kind of wrap up where we traveled about, you know, just valuing your how much peace you have in your mind. If you want to feel, if you value not controlling things, you can't control things, but you can develop a relationship and resolve behind the things we can't change, just like everything people have mentioned that has come to mind to them when they've gotten a commitment, whether it was to their peace or not, but even to the place of I can't do anything more than what I've done, and I need to put it to the side for me to be able to sleep at night, for me to be able to rest, for me to be able to have more peace. And your wisdom kicks in to support you when you get a resolution such as that. Not correcting anything, it's supporting your relationship with it. And then to that point, it's like if you have a strong relationship to your resolution, depending on your mood, you've got a place to point to.
Yeah.
Because you know our moods are the elevator of life. We can be all over the place, but we come back to that resolution of I want more peace in my mind. I want to live in a better feeling. I want to live at peace with myself. And nobody else can do it for you, and no circumstances outside of you will make it happen ever.
And I'm so glad that you pointed out that you hadn't seen that as a priority in your life, because it just kind of like what do you say, made it stronger. I don't know how a better way to put it. Anyway, to hear that and to think about it in that relation myself, it's so thank you for your part in that. And of course, you share it. Thank you for your part in setting it out there so that she could see it.
My pleasure. I just walk in there in the direction that I bump into, and just glad y'all come and have a conversation with me about it. You know?
Yeah.
Very grateful.
Yeah.
Very grateful. And thanks everybody for coming. Thank you so much for making a rich conversation. I mean, to me, it makes much better soup with more than one ingredient. And you're all ingredients in the soup. And thank you. And next month on the 4th, the topic's going to be losing weight where you carry it the most. It's the insight that came to mind for me.
Good one.
Yeah, when these things when they come to me, I'm like, I can run with that one. You know, losing weight where you carry it the most. So thank you all for taking time out of your day to come and to share in this conversation. And I'm delighted to be in relationship with you all. Well, that was fun. That was a great conversation. I hope you gleaned some great things that will support you in finding peace where it truly resides. I really appreciate you taking a listen. I really appreciate you being part of this community, and I hope you join us again on another conversation. If you know of someone that you feel could benefit, please share this recording with them. And also join us live next time. We'd love to see you on the call.